Welcome to 2 on the 10.
Welcome back, guys. How you guys doing?
Good. How about y'all?
Oh, the week was good, man. The week was so good. Episode 10. I'm Paul.
I'm Mitch.
Greedy Nick.
Grady.
2 on the 10 podcast.
Oh, yes, sir. Hey, let's revisit a couple stories from the earlier episodes, man. Ja Morant back in the news again.
Shooter.
Another gun episode, on live stream with his boys listening to who?
NBA Youngboy?
Yeah. And I guess, that makes you gangster or whatever. So, you want to flash a piece or whatever. Already again, the NBA has suspended him. I don't get it.
I think actually his team suspended him. The NBA is investigating. They're probably going to put a bigger suspension on him than what he got the 8 games the first time.
I got you. It's crazy to me, man. It's like as a responsible gun owner, I keep my Roscoe's in my nightstand. I don't be flashing them in the car and stuff like that. And most gun owners don't do that. I don't get this cat. You know what I'm saying? You get in trouble the first time for it, and now this time around, you don't learn it. Hard hit.
This is crazy.
What Mama say? What did you say? A hard hit make a soft ass?
Something like that. Mama said knock you out. It's crazy. Actually, speaking of what someone said, Kwame Brown called him NBA dumb boy. I think that's actually very appropriate, actually. So shout out to Kwame Brown.
Right.
Ja Morant. I mean, this is crazy. It just blows my mind. And then I'm sure everybody by the time they see this is going to hear the talk, but it's like, what kind of friends do you have? Those aren't your friends.
Right.
And, I don't know. You just have
Here's the weird thing, though. If you watch the video, his friend was the one that, looked over and saw the strap and, pulled the video down and then cut it off real quick. Mm-hmm. It was only up. I had to, pause it and, watch it quick to just even see that there was a gun in his hand. It was a half a millisecond, but...
Like the young kids say, it's up.
It's up. But what's the reason of having a gun in the first place? You hanging out with your boys and ain't nobody around, ain't nobody gonna run up on you. You probably in $1 million neighborhood acting a fool.
Remember the movie Juice? Remember when Bishop, aka Tupac, had that gun?
Right. Well,
it was the biggest gun in the world.
Now you got the juice.
Yeah, I think Ja Morant thinks he's got the juice or something.
and then his apology comes out. You can speak on that a little bit.
Oh wow! And again, I can't confirm this, but I've read it, and I got to agree with Uncle Shay Shay that it looks like Chat GPT wrote his apology.
Oh wow! Hey, AI.
But nobody writes their apology anyway. Someone's always writing everybody's apology.
True, but Chat GPT.
We talked about it before. AI is going to do a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, we touched on Ja Morant and AI, and we weren't talking Allen Iverson, but this is crazy. This is crazy. My mind's blown that somebody does this. Jeopardizes everything. The way he has right now.
Hey, it's not the first time though. You look at Plaxico Burress, shot himself in the club.
He didn't shoot himself twice, though.
Exactly.
He learned. Ja didn't shoot himself. He just
Cheddar Bob ass. Cheddar Bob.
Cheddar Bob in the building.
So, is he going to be, be able to play next year?
In China? You know what? All jokes aside, I'm sure they're going to figure it out. But I actually think, take the other side for a second, it is supposedly from what I understand, it's his registered firearm. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be some people that argue, why can't he show his registered firearm? Now, his position and his influence, especially with kids and younger people, there's a responsibility to that. This could get very interesting, especially with the dollars involved in a lot of levels.
Yeah, but I think gun owners, smart gun owners, aren't jamming out to music, waving their guns in the air. If they're going to show you it, it's going to be presented in a respectful, way that's safe and they might show it or put it out, but they're not going to be holding it up, waving it in there, dancing to music with it.
No, but like for example, if Johnny Cochran took the case, I could see him showing, okay, so we have this other guy and he's playing country music and he's at the range shooting, and that's fine, right?
Yeah, but you're at the gun range that time. You're not in the driveway.
You're not in a car driving down the road.
Hey, prove that Ja Morant's not on his way to the gun range. I'm just saying. Hey, it's Johnny Cochran.
If
The glove don't fit.
you
Must have
Hey,
quit.
if he's with the shits, you must have quit.
He's crazy, man. He's crazy. I love it. But you brought up implant in China. And speaking of
China.
yeah. Speaking of that, China for the first time bought corn from South Africa.
I thought from Jimmy. Jimmy crack corn.
Greedy. What you think about this, man?
I mean, from what I'm hearing, I'm reading, they're trying to reduce their dependency on the U.S. Obviously, they're China and Russia are trying to do their thing, create their own currency, whatever, and make it the world currency. But the facts of the matter is, China relies heavily on the U.S. for agriculture, and they're super dependent on it. Upwards of $36.4 billion of agriculture exported from the U.S. to China last year in 2022. 16.4 billion of that was just in soybeans, and then another 4.8 billion in corn. So,
wow.
China is actually one of the biggest importers of soybeans in the world, which is crazy. But I mean, when you have billion plus population and you're landlocked, you got to find your food and things from somewhere. So.
But this, to me, it's just another thing about the war on the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, it seems. I mean, leave it to me to speak on it. But it seems like the narratives are all playing out. Like this was gonna happen. It seems like these are the reasons. It almost seems like to me that the globalists that run the world behind all the places that get the money from the wars that everybody fighting. This is another narrative for us to continue to be financial slaves.
Right.
I mean, something that bugs me. We always get sold on the first level or the second level of the sensationalism, and it's like, oh, China, we got to go to battle with China. That's our problem. From COVID to everything else, whether that really happened or not. Like, I wonder if there's still people that really believe that the bat story or whatever, from the lab to the bat,
the
to
wet
the
markets,
soup, to the wet market to over to here. I just don't know. It just seems like there's always got to be a scapegoat in a story, so that half the population just blindly sleeps and just follows that shit.
So you're saying Russia and China are the boogeyman?
Yeah, of course, definitely the boogeyman. But here's what doesn't make sense if you logically think about it, and especially if you think about the financial ties in all countries and the globalists and the global banking cartels, et cetera. We owe China money.
Right.
We owe China tons of money. So if we go to war, do we not owe that money anymore?
Depends if we win or not.
No, well, exactly.
If we lose, we don't owe them the money because we're going to be China.
Well, guess what? If we, again, this is the Debo effect. It's like, where's my money for my 40?
Right.
If we win, that's what we're doing. Again, but no, seriously, it's funny because we owe them money. At least that's the narrative, because that keeps us working and keeps all this stuff, kind of balanced. We owe them money. We've owed them for decades and decades and decades. But then they also, want to take us down.
Well, here's the thing. I've done some research on China and read up on some of the stuff. Their population is getting older, and they've limited, how many children people can have and the types of children, boy or girl, that they can have. Their population is getting older. Their workforce is getting older, and I've actually read that the old saying of China having the cheap labor is no longer the case. It's actually Mexico now is where you're going to get the cheapest labor per capita, and China that's hurting China and China's population. The generation now is when they die off, there's not the population there to replenish that. So they're going to see a drastic decrease in their population, a drastic decrease in their workforce, and they're going to be even more reliant on other countries for things, more so than they are now. And I think that's part of what this is that they see the writing on the wall and they're trying to make a play to become that, superpower with Russia, to, jump things before they happen, really.
I'll say this: if you say there's going to be a decrease in population, I'd like to know what vaccines they take.
Vaccines, I don't.
Here we go.
It's a fair question, right? I'm just saying.
It's a very fair question, but I don't even know how to answer that one because we don't discuss those types of things on here. Those are just speculation and hearsay.
Yes, we don't talk about no vaccine.
YouTube, please don't block us.
Yeah. But they're like Matumbo. No. We'll have to get another account.
Locked.
I hear you.
But no, let's turn this to something positive, because here's the thing. I like to look at it this way. Even when the Cold War, I started realizing to myself, that like the people in Russia, for the most part, to my understanding, especially people I've interacted with, are good people.
Yeah.
People in China, good people. They have the same goals, want to raise their family, have a certain belief system. Might not be exact, but we're all very similar in that. We're all suppressed by our governments to different levels.
Well, you got to understand. I mean, it's not the people. It's the leaders.
Without doubt.
It's our leaders. I mean, we have that. I mean, we have that here.
But
you know what I'm saying is you can meet many people on each side of the aisle, and they're really good people. It just our politicians, are supposed to be our voice for what the people say, and that's not always the case. I mean, they may have their
it's
own
for
agenda.
what the big dollars pay.
Right.
Not for what the people
Divide
say.
and conquer.
And so with that said, though, it's like, but I do think there's a certain, part of the population that looks at it as it's all bad and it's all them and it's all this. The boogeyman effect spreads to all of it. It's like China, just everything that has to do with China is bad. You know what I mean? Like, I do think that, and just maybe it's my opinion, but it just seems like, that's the mentality. Like, the world war.
It was the same, back in the 90s, Iraq,
of course.
Iraq, they're building weapons of mass destruction. When we
course.
touched on that, there wasn't none. There was a bunch of
nine-
jewels, but no weapons.
No, that was. I mean, Iraq was nothing but a revenge. That was, Saddam Hussein tried to kill his daddy.
Didn't we put him in power over there?
What was Saddam Hussein? Yeah. I mean, yeah, but you try to kill. I mean, George Bush was, it was a way to go into Iraq, use cover weapons of mass destruction to go, because Iraq had nothing to do with the 9/11 bombings. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. In fact, a lot of things I've read is that the Bin Laden family was with the Bush family in that morning and flew out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean,
They were in a meeting, I heard.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of things that went on during that.
That makes sense.
Like I said, the Iraq War was a revenge factor. It had nothing to do with, and that's why I going back to again. It's not about the people. It's about the politicians.
No, of course. But there are people that do not get the connection. There are
Well,
people.
you keep the population fearful, and they're going to rely on you to protect them, and then you'll stay in power.
I mean, people are waiting for their Red Dawn moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's an 80s reference. Or actually they did a remake, so maybe some people will
They
get
do a
that.
remake of Red Dawn.
Yeah.
Man, they need to stop. What's the remake that's about to come out?
White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah,
With your boy Jack Harlow.
I know. They need,
Hey, I'm just going to say, why are you going to ruin the classic?
exactly. I'm going to watch it just to see. Speaking of watching, I did see Air. Man, great movie.
Can we give it up for Aaron?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's give it up for Eric.
Definitely.
Only about 6 episodes late, Paul.
I know, but it finally came out on Prime. I checked it out the other night, and it was, man, I didn't know how in depth that story was. I didn't know like how Nike was actually teetering on, possibly, going out of business. I mean, they were known as a running shoe. I think they were, but the global icon that they are today, without Jordan, it would have never happened.
Who was their boy, Stansfield or whatever? But
Yeah.
And what do you think of the 80s soundtrack, though? I mean,
The soundtrack was amazing. I mean, it took me back to, when I was growing up. And, man, they did a very, very good job on that. Ben
I thought it
Affleck and Matt Damon,
Chris
great
Tucker.
actor Chris Tucker in there. So, just...
Violetta Davis or whatever?
Yeah. Oh man, she played amazing.
She was a G.
Oh man.
Hey, if we do go to war with China, though, that might be the downfall for Nike because they ain't gonna have that cheap labor to put their shoes together anymore.
I think Phil Knight and them are just as big as other people around. I think they could figure that out. I think we're what late 80s, early 90s rap song. We're kind of all in the same gang when it comes to the globalists and the people with the big dollars.
Right.
That's why I find the narratives a little hard to believe. I do think conspiracy Mitch, is going to sit there and go, they're just going to let us know how the dollar's going to collapse and how we're going to have to switch to digital, and eventually we're going to lose a lot of our value.
Right.
And I think that every single one of these notes is trying to prepare that. I do have a quick question because we were talking about corn. Right. So is South Africa going to be known as corn mecca like Iowa?
No, I mean I don't think that. Like I said, I think it's a war on the U.S. right now. So they're just trying to find other countries that they don't have to depend on the U.S., which is fine. We are self-sustaining. You know what I'm saying? And yes, we are tied globally into these other economies, but it's not going to change. It's not going to change us at all. Go ahead and go buy it from somebody else.
I'm going to politely agree to disagree, but and I hope we don't get there.
Yeah.
But I will say this: maybe they're tired.
I'm telling you, we're the greatest and strongest nation in the world, and
I remember when the Romans said that,
and that's never going to change. I'm just going to say, like, only way for us to go down, I'm going to tell you, is for us to have nuclear war. That's just my belief. I believe we're too strong.
we work too hard.
I honestly think if we were to go down, it'd be from the
Grid.
inside.
I'd say the grid.
It'd be from the inside.
It's already happening.
Yeah,
It's already happening.
It's crumbling. But as long as if we're going down, I'm gonna at least I'm gonna learn some.
You're gonna go down too.
I'm gonna learn some Mandarin.
Pause.
I'm gonna learn some Mandarin. I'm gonna start eating some Chinese food. Learn how to cook some Chinese food.
And that's I think that's an appreciation that I have for sure. Like goodwill and stuff. It's like Chinese food, right? I don't know if you guys are big fans of Chinese food. I love Chinese food.
Or in China, they just call it food. I heard.
Yeah. Actually, I heard the food in China is way different than our Americanized, version of Chinese food.
It's not Panda Express?
Well, hey, don't knock Panda Express.
In fact, isn't that your go-to for Chinese food? Or you're not the biggest Chinese food?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Chinese food person, but I mean, my extent is Panda Express. I go there and get my double orange chicken and my chow mein.
Do you do it with chopsticks when you're there?
No, definitely not. But I do put the sweet and sour sauce all over, all over the chicken and the chow mein. That's how I shoot it down. But what about you, Nick?
I mean, I grew up on Chinese food here in Arizona, which ain't that great. But I've had to experience a few times in New York eating some Chinese food, like in Chinatown and in Flushing, Queens. And I will say there's a big difference between what we get here in Arizona and what you can get in New York and other places. And I'm sure compared to what you get in China itself, I've had people that have traveled there that have told me the food there is definitely different and definitely way better than the food that you get here in the U.S.
Wow.
What's your go-to though at the Chinese food spot?
Go-to Chinese food. I mean, there's not a lot of great places out here. There used to be a place called Lin's that I really liked, but right now, I unless I'm traveling other places, I really don't do Chinese food too much. There's a couple places I know Mitch is going to mention that I like, but it's just it's tough to get good Chinese food outside of population areas where there's a lot of the Chinese people living. So.
Since we're talking locally AZ wise, there's a couple good pockets here or there, The one I would like to speak on, my favorite right now is in Chandler called Singing Panda.
Singing Panda, okay.
Yeah, Singing Panda. They have a little Elvis room in the back where, on like certain nights, it almost reminds you of...
Is that like karaoke?
Yeah, karaoke and stuff, and also performers and stuff. Mm-hmm. But their food is amazing. It's definitely one of the better spots, if not the best spot I've had out here, as far as, typical, for typical price point Chinese food. And my go-tos, I'm always a sesame chicken person.
Okay.
I'm always a sesame chicken person. And then I also love lo mein, chicken lo mein. Those are my two things that, you can't go wrong with, in my opinion.
See, I love me some chicken fried rice, and that Singing Panda has some great chicken fried rice. I mean, it's like full breast of chicken cut up in the rice. That actually is a good spot. And I heard there's a really good like Chinese fast food window place out on the west side that's like been really popular lately.
Are you talking about old school, like in the South Side?
Yeah, it's like South Phoenix place, and it's just like a window on a corner. And they said you got to
I know that's
wear a bulletproof vest when you go there.
No, I know that
the food's amazing. I've seen it pop up a few times on like Instagram and TikTok and some other places.
It's like on Broadway and like I don't know if it's somewhere between 16th and 24th.
Hold on. I know exactly what place you're talking about. It's on. It's actually on Southern.
Okay, Southern. Okay,
Southern and 16th Street. It's right. Only reason why I know is because it's right next to. I don't know if it's a hair store. Like so, I used to back in the day. I used to have to buy my daughter.
I thought you said you could buy hair products.
No, I've been bald for so many years, but no, I had to buy my daughter, extensions out of her hair, and we used to go down there. And I remember there used to be. Yeah, that place used to be packed right next door.
Southside. Shout out to Southside Phoenix.
Yeah, I can't remember what that place is. But,
neither can I, but I've been there before. One of my boys took me down there. Yeah. But yeah, you definitely want to go in the daytime.
If anybody knows what it is, please comment out there and let us know for sure.
But speaking of spots, And I just got to bring the feelings back for the 90s, right? Shout out to the 90s. Do you remember when P.F. Chang's opened in the 90s and how popping that spot was?
I mean, yeah, P.F. Chang's used to be, I mean, go in there and get some lettuce wraps. Oh, my God.
Lettuce wraps.
And then they even busted out Payway.
Yeah. And but I'll tell you, do you remember when it first opened up and the lines were out the building?
Right.
It was people's idea of gourmet Chinese, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so here's the funny thing, and again, keep in mind, it took the 90s. There were lines out the building, hour to 2 hour waits. It was the snappiest Chinese food for American.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you got the pandas that started coming through in the mid 2000s or whatever. That's more the fast casual or fast food. But P.F. Chang's was the sit down baller kind of, no shame in your game, sit down and ball out. $13, $15 a person type thing, right? What's interesting is, you know what PF stands for in P.F. Chang's?
What's that?
Paul Fleming.
Really? Paul Fleming.
So yeah, the owner of Fleming's. So Paul Fleming's Chang. I just want you guys to know that. Most people don't know that stuff. Can we give a shout out to Paul Fleming's?
Paul. What's up, Paul Fleming?
Yep. So Fleming's Steakhouse, I think he by way of, if I'm not mistaken, Ruth Chris's Kitchen, et cetera, et cetera. But and many other restaurants. And Paul Fleming's does the Chinese food thing and balled out to do it, But most people do not realize the PF and PF Chang's is for Paul Fleming.
Wow.
But with that said, I know you said, what's it called? Panda Express was your spot.
Right.
But if I recall this guy over here, actually, when we were in the Entourage days. Now, Entourage, for you young folks, you might not remember, but it was an HBO thing. It was sick as hell. It was my favorite, one of my favorite series ever.
Right.
It was based on, Mark Wahlberg's experiences in Hollywood and getting started and stuff.
What was the main character?
Johnny Chase?
Yeah,
No,
Johnny.
no, not Johnny Chase. What was it? Vince Chase.
Vince Chase. Yeah, Vince.
Vincent Chase's brother Johnny, Turtle, Eric, his manager.
Yeah.
That was and everybody used to love that show. I mean, everybody kind of caught little different vibes. They used to have guest appearances. They dialed that in so well on HBO. Right. I miss that show. And the music, they broke a lot of songs, like Kanye songs. I remember when I saw E40's Tell Me When to Go on there.
Right.
Oh, and remember Ari, they broke the role for Ari, for that one dude that's been in the movies for like 20 years, and then he gets that role as Ari. And even Lloyd got, love,
Yeah.
And so I just remember me, Paul, and our boy Ken, who we talk a lot about. We were running a business at the time, and we were like, let's go to LA, let's go to Hollywood, let's get the experience, right? Mm-hmm. And we each got to pick a spot where we wanted to eat. And I'll let Paul explain his feelings behind it real quick, on this one. I said, just for the record, we had to do, because these cats had not had Roscoe's. Out here we have Lolo's,
right?
But we had to do Roscoe's Hollywood after the club.
Yeah.
And so, not the one with PNB Rock. We had to do the one, not the Manchesters or none of the hood spots. We had to do the one right after Hollywood, right after the club. You got about an hour and a half to get your ass over there. Mm-hmm. I remember I had to tip the front door dude to let us in, whatever, because we had to experience it. So that was my pick, was just so we know for the record, was Roscoe's at Hollywood.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely after the club, but going there before was, Mr. Childs. Mr. Childs was incredible. I mean, you go in there and paparazzi's waiting outside the door.
First of all, you had to make reservations.
Yeah.
They would not let celebrities in. They turned everybody away.
Exactly. I mean, we were fortunate, to get some, reservations for us.
You did it like 2-3 weeks out. I remember that.
Yeah.
My pick is Mr. Childs. I remember.
Yeah. And Paris Hilton's family came in. We were sitting next to Wes Craven. Who was that? Stevie Wonder was in the house too. It was amazing. I mean, they even announced Stevie Wonder was in the house. Everybody started clapping.
Here's what's funny. Paul's telling the story now, but two things I got to say is, one, we're sitting at our table finally, and I remember Stevie walking in. And I'm looking at the door. I go, "Oh shit, Stevie Wonder's here!" And he's like, "Man, I ain't never seen Mitch get starstruck." And I'm like, "Man, Stevie Wonder ain't a star, motherfucker. He's an icon."
Right.
I remember that. And legend. And the whole place gets up and starts clapping.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing about it, he had a party of about 6 or 8 people. I think his kids and his wife or whatever.
Right.
And he walks the back. And he hears the clapping, and he just turns his head and starts clapping too. And he's walking to his table. That was one of the dopest experiences ever.
Right.
And then I got to add, because you mentioned Wes Craven.
Yeah.
So I actually got the last spot at the bar, and there was a packed bar. So Ken and Paul were on the side. So I'm ordering my Red Bull and vodkas, and actually this dude goes, "Hey, let me get you around. I got you one." So I'm sitting there talking to this old man. And he goes, "How's your night, son?" I go, "It's good. We just never been here. We're coming through. We're visiting from Arizona." "Oh, that's what's up, Arizona. Okay." And he's talking about whatever. He goes, "Yeah, we had a good day today, at work." And I'm, "Oh, okay, great. That's awesome." And I don't think anything of it. Cool, man. Cheers up. Thank you for the drink. I go back down to the seat. Our waiter comes over. hey, you know Wes Craven? I was like, no, but hey, cool ass motherfucker.
Right.
Rest in peace to Wes Craven, man.
Shout out Wes Craven.
Yeah, so that was an experience in itself. Yeah. And then the one thing I think we got to share, I don't know if you want to share it or when we come up to how to order.
At Mr. Chow's. So Mr. Chow's, if you've ever been there, you know what I'm about to say, but they don't have menus. So I didn't know this.
Menus are frowned upon.
Yeah. So I didn't know this at the time. So essentially what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to tell the waiter what you like, and then they'll prepare it for you. So I didn't know this, so I'm looking around, and the waiter comes by, and I was like, "Hey, where's the menu so I can look at the food, start ordering?" And he was like, "Sir, we don't really have menu. I can see if we have maybe an old
some in the back.
Some in the back, yeah. But if you tell me what you like, I was like, okay, I'll tell you what I like. You bring it out to me, we can go from there."
And he looked at us and he goes, do you guys like filet? Do you guys like lobster? Do you guys like crab? Do you guys like chicken? Okay, I'll be back. And let's not lie, we were doing well at the time, right? First of all, we were doing so well. We were in a little bit of jewels in the club, and I mean the club later. Yeah. And we were wearing our jewelry, like a couple nice blinged out watches and some necklaces and earrings and stuff. And we walked in, and people were trying to figure out who we were. And so it was funny because we're getting all this stuff, and the food's amazing, and we're looking like, I wonder what this bill's going to be. Like, let's be real.
You know what? It actually wasn't that.
But remember that we were like, what the hell are they going to hit us over the head for?
Yeah, because they were just bringing stuff. You know what I'm saying?
And when we got the bill, and I go, hold on, does that include the drinks at the bar? Whoa, whoa!
So I mean, I think it was only like $250.
No, I think it was about 400, but for the three of us, including our drinks.
Yeah.
Damn.
I paid more than that in my muslage.
I think I paid that at Taco Bell last week for 4.
Now I'm glad you skipped over what I asked the waiter.
Oh, you want to go there?
I do want to go there. I've heard the story. I know it, and I think we should.
You think you should tell it? Okay. Well, so the waiter comes back, and at the time,
keep in mind in this restaurant that you need 3 weeks. You need 3 weeks reservations at least. They turn away. It doesn't matter who you are. They'll turn away Kobe Bryant. They've turned away Deion Sanders, from what I've heard, et cetera. I think Coutinho Mobley got turned away the night we were there. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I pulled up in his Maybach. You got to have reservations. It doesn't matter who you are. That's one thing I respect about that place. But and so this dude here. Okay. So I have to, I have to put a disclaimer on this. So the disclaimer is this is before my palate was a little bit more refined, and I know how to eat steak now. But back there, I was younger. I was just coming up. It was only a certain way I knew how to cook the steak. It was, burnt.
It was at the minimum medium well or well done. And so
extra crispy like KFC.
I don't know if it was that bad, but they butterfly it for me and do all that stuff. So, but
give you the bad cut.
So you guys order, I think you guys both order medium, and he comes to me and he says, how would you like your steak prepared? I said, there's one thing in this world that I like pink.
And it's not my steak.
And it's not my steak. I said this to the waiter.
And he looked like, whoa. And me and Ken start cracking up.
So
another round of drinks.
Yeah, so that was like the joke for the whole night.
For the whole lifetime.
Yeah, we say it at every place we go. There's only one thing I like, pink,
and it ain't my steak.
It ain't my steak. And motherfucker, did you throw a motherfucker in there? No.
Crazy.
He's like, it's my T-shirt.
Put the 2 on the 10 right there.
Yeah. Don't ever perpetrate.
But no, we had a great night that night. We left dinner, and then we went down. I can't remember the club that we went down.
Well, I remember the club we went to beforehand. Yeah. One of our friends, she told us.
Did we go there before?
Well, no. I meant before the other club.
Yeah,
That's what I meant. Okay. So we leave. We take a cab, whatever, from Beverly Hills to Hollywood. Probably 15 minutes if actually crazy. I don't know but we go to this one club that we were told to go to where that'll be a cool spot from one of our friends that moved out there. So we go to the spot, and it's okay. It seems a little young. I just remember this girl said, "Oh, my brother's right next to you guys at the next table." We had a bottle service real quick. And I remember it was Trevor from O-Town.
Yeah, right.
And he was cool as shit. So shout out Trevor from O-Town.
O-Town.
But that old MTV.
That was the first night I tried Cristal.
Okay, so now we got to get the real story. So we drive by a few other spots. We're like, this ain't popping. This ain't what we got better clubs in Scottsdale, And so we wanted the experience, the Hollywood experience. So we pull up to this one spot that everybody else told us to go to. We walk right up, and they're like, yeah, guys, sorry, can't get in. There's a line around the building. And from Scottsdale days and my bottle days, I go, what do we buy bottles? Oh, well, if you buy bottles, hold on, like the dude told us straight up, and this is circa 2006, 2007.
I'm dating us.
Okay, I got you. Okay. But we just turned 21 back then.
Yeah.
So we pull up to, and it's like if someone tells you, hey, you can't get in, right? Usually, you would take them. Most people take them for, oh, can't get in. Let's go to another club. Mm-hmm. You always pull out well, what do we buy bottles? Where do the tables run?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's and they were like, well, okay, well, if you're going to do that, here you go. Here's a menu. What are you guys going to get? Oh, we'll get a bottle of Goose. And we'll get a bottle. And I remember you wanted your Champagne King, Vu.
Yeah, yep.
Cool. So they bring us into the club or the bar, restaurant, and club. And I just remember they sat us in the restaurant part with the tables. I remember we sat at this table and the table's all wobbly. Right. We got like the red velvet booths for the family night or whatever. But that's fine. We're in there. The music's popping. It's a happening club. And I remember it being 420 that night too, by the way. And so what was funny about that was, so we order our drinks. I remember me and Kim were like, okay, we'll get a bottle of Goose. And Paul's like, I want my champagne cake. Let me get a bottle of Vu. And I quickly look real quick at the menu and I go, I'm not good at math except for when it comes to liquor. And so it's like, when it comes to liquor, well, hold on a second. I get my Rain Man on real quick. I'm like, hold on a second. That's $3.50 for a bottle of Vu. We could get Vu for $175. It costs $39 at Costco. Blah 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 blah. Right. I'm like, hey Paul, you might want to rethink this. Hey, if you ever want to go for Cristal, let's go for it now. I'll go halves with you. Because the Cristal bottle was only $5.50. Normally Cristal's $800 to $1,000. And normally that bottle at Costco is about $200, $220. Mm-hmm. And so if you do the math, $40 for that bottle, $3.50. $220, $5.50.
Yeah,
it's a way better deal than probably your Cristal.
Yeah. It was a good value for that. It was a good value for that night. And then
as soon as you said,
I'll take the Cristal, they changed their whole attitude. They actually moved our table from the back.
You don't need the shitty table anymore. You can go to the back by the porn stars.
Yeah, exactly. They moved us to the front where the porn stars
in another room.
Yeah, I love that club because it had like the back rooms. It was all like I don't know, they had these secret rooms in the back
that you could smell all the marijuana from 420.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
And then they also had the roof where the girls in the lingerie were crawling up on the roof and stuff. And then they had the little windows behind the bar, like a red light district. In fact, I swear it's the club that Ray J's Sexy Can I video, and maybe even Nelly's Hot in Here video. It's like a very famous, wish I had the name, I forgot, but it's a very famous Hollywood club that's been there since the 70s.
Right.
No. Hey guys, I've known you guys a long time. I just want to say thanks for the fucking invite, assholes.
I think you might not have been old enough to drink, man.
Maybe, I don't know. I know
you were probably into different things at the time.
maybe.
But anyway, I mean, Dirk. Who was the other cat? Dirk Nasty.
Oh yeah.
He up there performed.
Yeah. He was singing. I remember Paul's like, "Who's this dude? This dude's freaking terrible. Fuck this guy. Get him off
He's
here."
up there singing.
Snort coke on my dick.
I was like, "Who? What the fuck is this?" I mean,
it was him and Bam and whoever else. We didn't know who those guys were.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they start popping on the MTV side and like MTV2 and the little sub underground cult hits that they had.
Yeah.
But we saw them on 420. And then what's funny is, so we get the Cristal bottles. We're sitting next to the porn stars. We're on the dance floor. Now every LA promoter and person that takes photographs wants to change cards with us and whatever. And we were networking like crazy. Then we're like, should we get another bottle of Cristal? Yeah, keep the party going.
We definitely had a good night that night, and then left there. We ate at Roscoe's that night.
That's
Roscoe's. Oh man, thank you. That food was so good. Now, when you're drunk, food tastes extra well, but it was still, man.
I love Roscoe's, man. The Roscoe's in Long Beach. We used to go for the clothing shows, man. That Roscoe's is so good.
Yeah. The private room.
I just remember going in there and just grubbing out with, some of the clothing guys from that live in LA and stuff, and just having great meals over there, man. I love
something about
Roscoe's.
chicken and waffles at nighttime, man. It's different,
No, definitely. And then, one other thing too, when we mentioned Mr. Childs, a lot of people might know from rap music or maybe even New York, Felipe Childs, right?
Right.
That's supposedly, from my understanding, that's his old chef.
Really?
That ran with the same concept.
Okay.
And a lot of people hold Felipe Childs in the same kind of status as Mr. Childs, which is interesting. They had a lawsuit. Mr. Childs sued Felipe Childs.
Wow.
Felipe Childs, so the chef tried to steal the identity and almost run with the same shit,
That's crazy.
I just thought that was interesting. But
The only thing I came close to is some puppy chow.
Yeah, that figures. Hey, you think basketball wise, you think Yao Ming's been to Mr. Chow's?
Well, I mean, the same cat that was growing up.
Fit through the front door. I don't know.
No, well, the reason why I transitioned that is speaking of people created in labs,
right.
for 300, Alex. No, but the Spurs got the number one pick. And of course, they're going to get my boy. I'm going to say his name is V Dub. I'm calling him V Dub. You heard it here first, Nick. Can we get some on that? V Dub.
Oh yeah.
V-Dub. And we ain't talking
Victor
Volkswagen.
Wembanyama.
Yeah, Victor Wembanyama, 7'4", 229 pounds, handles like a Penny Hardaway, almost like a Kevin Durant 5.0.
Tim Duncan Jr., Senior.
Yeah, Kevin Durant. Kevin Garnett.
I watched a YouTube video of this cat, and his handles was so sick. He did this one move where he shot a three, missed it, the ball bounced up, he caught it out of the air, and then dunked it again. I was like, this dude is a freak. So, but here's my thing: is his body going to? He's skinny right now. They're going to definitely put some weight on him once he gets there. But is his body going to hold up?
That's a big question. I mean, you got the whole. I mean, and I joke around a little bit, but there's a little bit of sincerity in the created in the lab stuff. I mean, this stuff doesn't even add up. The math is not mathing with these people.
What, he's 7'4"?
7'4", fast as shit.
Yeah.
Quick twitch. Jumps out the gym. It's eye-hand coordination.
Right.
It's crazy. It's like
Where's he playing in France right now?
Yeah, France. I guess he's scoring, is it 21 points a game this year or whatever, which a lot of people, I see in the comments sometimes they're worried like, he's only scoring 21 points. That's, not going to translate. What's the big deal? But people got to forget, if you look at Luka, and I'm not saying he's Luka, and I'm not saying he's better or worse, but Luka was like 12 points, 16 points, 18 points. His last year he was 23, and then he comes in the league and scores 21 as a rookie.
Right. I heard the European game, too, is a lot different.
Oh, it's grown man shit. Yeah. It's grown man like thug shit. Like, they bump you, they want to stab you.
I heard it's like old 80s basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
When you go to the whole, it's a real foul.
More thug than skill set. It's like playing in the park with brass knuckles. Like see how many points you score.
But no, it's talking about the NBA. The playoffs are in full swing right now. Unfortunately, the Suns didn't make it out of the second round once again.
Nuggets were the better team,
right.
Better coached, hate to say it, but the better superstar. And then on top of that, had a better team. But there's no excuses. If you read check out the podcast, we said it's not Suns in 4. Suns are going to have a battle. We did think it was going Game 7. And the homer me, probably, kind of would love to have had the Suns go, of course. The reality me thinks back and goes, if this, again, it's not all based on, I don't know. It's like, I seem like a split personality because we're talking facts of what happens. But then, the opinions are that, the games are altered with, to the slightest degrees.
Right.
But even the fouls aren't called, you could pick apart little things. But at the end of the day, the better team won. They had better support. 1 and 2. Let's put it this way. You could go 1 and 2. The two best players, I think they basically washed.
Right.
But I think 3 and 4 and the rest of the players. And then Brown. I think if you want, the whole series, Brown was better than anybody else. The Suns, across the board.
I was just hoping they put up a better fight in Game 6.
Yeah.
It just seems like once they saw the snowball coming, they just kind of laid down.
The one thing people forget though is, and again, no excuses, but you didn't have CP3 who's a starter, and you didn't have Ayton, and this is a team that played 8 games together.
Right.
It's tough because I get the whole especially the Shaq and Barkley shit on KD narrative. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The first person I think I spoke on this, but first person I saw do this brilliantly was Jimmy Johnson when he left the Cowboys. The first thing he did to what's his name, Switzer?
Mm-hmm. Barry Switzer,
was go Barry Switzer. Yeah, he goes, they got the best team in football. He should win it all, no doubt.
Right.
And I'm sitting there going, wow, it's kind of a weird take. And I'm younger, so I don't understand game like that.
Yeah.
But guess what? I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna neutralize any success you have by saying that you're gonna win it all.
Right.
And then when you don't win it all, I'll look like I made a bad prediction, but you'll look like you didn't fulfill it.
Right.
And if you do win it all, well, of course, no doubt.
Right.
That really wasn't anything.
So do you agree on, them firing, the coach too, Monty Williams?
You know what? as much as I do think Monty's a great coach, he was coach of the year. He brought him to the finals. He's had 4 great seasons, but the last 2 games they've ended, they lost by 30 and 28, and they were down 30 at half.
Why not give them?
You can't lose back-to-back years
And at home.
eliminated
And
from the
at home.
playoffs at home
And at
like
home.
that and then keep a job. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter.
Somebody has to.
And it's I don't even think it was Monty Williams really. I think it was the players
Yeah.
and but that just shows that you don't have control over your team and your team ain't playing for you. They're not trying, and at the sign of adversity, they're giving up. So you got to go.
Let me add this because I'm a big Monty Williams fan. I embraced him when he got here. I'll say this, that he knows like the offensive side of it. I think he's got it dialed in. I mean, he's got the right people in place. But the defensive side of it, I think there was too many lapses and also not enough effort. And at the end of the day, that comes down. It comes down to the individual, but it also comes down to the coaching staff. And as much as I don't want to see him go, I mean, let's put it this way: this speaks volumes. He's probably going to the Bucks.
I will say this: he's probably the hottest coaching commodity in the offseason this year.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's not going to have a hard time finding a job. You know, because here's the thing: I
be
thought
the
they should have gave him one more year, just a full year with Durant. You know, I think they pulled the plug too quick. But I think the new owner is trying to come in there and put his own stamp on the team.
Speaking of own stamp, one of the rumors I heard is his boy from Michigan State,
Really? Wow.
Izzo.
Oh, really? Going to try to bring Izzo to
The Izzo.
Yeah.
professional level, huh?
Well, supposedly from what I've heard, and I don't know that that's going to work because here's the thing: college coaches and pro players,
Right.
you just never know how that works.
Yeah, because college coaches. I mean, this is another sport. But you look at Nick Saban, you look like Rick Pitino. All of them that came there, because they like the control aspect. You know, you control college kids. You can't control professional athletes.
Well, see,
making
and that's
millions
it.
of dollars.
Can you control college kids with the nil stuff now? You know.
I mean, definitely, because to a degree, they're going to listen. There's, at that point, they're still kids. You're not you're coaching grown men at this point.
The only thing that worries me about this owner is I've heard that he's Isaiah Thomas is one of his right-hand man, and we see how that worked out for the Knicks.
Yeah.
And now,
But that was Dolan, though. That was Dolan running.
yeah, but you still had Isaiah running muck out there, and there were some
Isaiah did
sexual
well.
harassment issues and things like that. And
Well, I mean, if you want to get into all that.
but I'm just saying, but the Knicks. I mean, I did pick them as a dark horse. They might have had a shot, but they ran into the buzzsaw.
Well, they definitely didn't win in 6.
They had a buzzsaw Jimmy Butler, and
Jimmy buckets, boy.
and
Boy, Jimmy
out of the playoffs they go, they lose. And
Right.
Speaking of sports and losing, you guys see the Coyotes. They were trying to build their new arena and entertainment complex, and the city of Tempe voters voted that shit down. And
Right.
that's pretty crazy.
Well, that is good. I mean, we talking about millions of dollars. I mean, thousands of jobs that could be. I mean, Tempe. I don't know what in the world they were thinking.
And they were gonna redo that whole landfill area. That's basically a wasteland. They were gonna to fix that up and make it suitable to build on.
Right. If anybody's ever in Phoenix, it's you can see it where the 101 and the 202 converge right there. If you see all of it, it's a dirt lot and it's an eyesore. And they were going to fix that all up. They were going to
put lipstick. They were going to put lipstick on a pig.
they were going to actually build that area up, because if you go a mile or two down the road, they have the Cubs new facility, which is beautiful, and brings in. They should have seen it right there. Well, I guess that's technically in Mesa. That's on the Tempe.
That's the other thing people have to understand. This area is so money greedy, backdoor deals, everything else, that every city is going to, they don't work with each other, in my opinion.
And it's crazy because, the city council for Tempe voted 7-0 in favor of this thing to push it in. Now, a couple of the things that really hurt the Coyotes were
They suck.
they had, one, they suck, but
Their fans suck.
they had to have 3 separate measures in order to get this done. One, they had to change the zoning on the property itself. And then 2, they had to allow the Coyotes to buy the land. And then the third was to give them some tax breaks to build this, $2+ billion dollar entertainment district.
Yeah, but it wasn't coming out of taxpayer money.
It wasn't. It wasn't. They were giving them some tax breaks on some of the stuff, but it wasn't going to affect the taxpayers in any way, shape, or form. Other than, so the craziest part, and I want your guys' opinion on this. One of the reasons that I heard that they were, all these Tempe people were pushing to vote against it was because it was going to increase the property value. Now, I don't know about you.
Decrease or
increase the property value.
Hold on, what?
And they said there wasn't enough affordable housing in Tempe. Since when has anybody other than a property owner, or a non-property owner, ever complained about the value of property going up?
Wow,
wasn't there also some misinformation?
There was a lot of misinformation. The city of Phoenix was trying to vote it down because of, the flight paths of the airport here in Phoenix and the interruption that may cause and some other things.
A few people getting sued over that, right?
So there were some lawsuits, a couple billion each way, suing each other, Phoenix and the developers. But the biggest group that was opposed to it, they only spent $35,000 in ads against it. And somehow they between that and all the other misinformation out there, they were able to push the voters to vote against it.
Well, I remember when I first moved out here, I used to hear about Arizona and, the whole Sheriff Joe thing, whatever Sheriff Joe, you look him up if you guys, I ain't gonna say too much, on Sheriff Joe, even though he's not the sheriff anymore. I'll just say this: they used to have a deal where they bring all the people from the retirement homes and bus them out to vote, and pay for probably their breakfast or whatever they did. But and they bring all the people that didn't even know, weren't even up to anything, just to bring them out and make it seem like everything's against the bad guys. Whereas whereas Sheriff Joe, in my opinion, was a bad guy.
Yeah. So. I've heard the Coyotes have already, as of today, have started looking at other properties here in Arizona. I also hear there's, talking about moves to like Houston, Quebec City, Salt Lake City, even OKC's come up. But an insider that I've been in contact with has told me that their thoughts are that, Arizona and Phoenix is one of the fastest growing markets in the country.
It is.
And why would they want to leave that? Why would they want to leave that to go to a lesser city? So I think that their goal is ultimately to try to find a way to stay here somewhere in the valley. Whether it happens or not is going to be up to, people way bigger dollars than me and the NHL.
The greedy Nick.
Yeah, the greedy Nick, I know. and other cities in Arizona that may try to woo them their way, including, possibly Indian reservation land or something like that.
Talking stick. Hey, real quick too. You remember our Hey Kobe days?
Yes.
Remember that story that was going to bust for a little bit?
Yeah. So that was probably early 2010s. I want to say
2008. I think.
Yeah, 2008, 2010. Coyotes weren't happy with their deal in Glendale, and there were some talks of them striking a deal to build an arena, and there was actually some plans drawn up.
They were breaking ground
for a arena up in the North Scottsdale area on Indian land back then. And for whatever reason that fell through, or maybe, we don't know all the back deals that happened or what really happened with that. But
we heard the rumors.
Yeah, things changed over that. And then,
inside rumors.
a lot of inside rumors. But even now, like I said, from my understanding of the Coyotes, they don't want to leave, but it's going to really come down to, can they build this entertainment district like they want to, or is some other city like a Houston or Salt Lake or even Quebec City going to give them a better opportunity?
Right. Go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of better opportunities,
right.
I was going to say, did you guys hear that Roc Nation took a full page ad out or whatever in one of the New York, and I think a few New York press, papers, talking about, them and Caesars joining forces to get a casino.
Which is crazy because I know it's, in Atlantic City it's legal, in Jersey it's legal, but I didn't know that it was legal for.
They even have some casinos on Long Island too, because I've been to a couple of those.
Okay.
But I think this one, they're going to actually put it right in Times Square, right in New York City is where they're looking at.
New York.
So, Manhattan basically area is where they're looking to put this thing.
That's crazy. And you said it's a Jay-Z based.
Well, Roc Nation, Jay-Z and Caesars, that's a pretty strong, combo. But they're not the only combo, I guess, that's going to be vying for it. But they took their shot, and they took their ad out to kind of, stake their claim.
So are they only giving out one license?
That's what it sounds like. I'm sure everything's Bible, but again, who knows? Who knows what the forces are and the connections behind it? But I just keep thinking to myself, this whole the Jay-Z story, the Roc Nation story. I just remember Jay-Z. I'm saying to myself when I'm hearing this story, I wonder if they're going to have Monopoly for money, inside the casino, because I remember the Dead Presidents video when it was him and Biggie and AZ, and Nas didn't make the video, and that's why I think him and Nas had beef,
Right.
because they were playing Monopoly for real money or whatever.
Right. I love Jay-Z's story. I love, the rags to riches. I'm growing up. What was it? Was Sophie?
Hawaiian Sophie. Shout out to Jazzo, the originators.
Yeah. Hawaiian Sophie.
Which both Nas and Tupac took shots at. Hawaiian Sophie fame.
But to come on, the cat is a billionaire now. Has beautiful wife, beautiful kids, and it just
his company's named Rockefeller.
Yeah, and
he throws up the diamond.
It shows that hard work does pay off.
Something like that.
Or selling your soul.
one of the two. But
we're making a song called Lucifer.
He did. You were speaking. That's the first time I heard that song was on the Entourage show.
Okay.
Yeah. I got that. I downloaded that thing like
Sun in the morning. Huh?
Yeah.
What's your favorite Jay-Z song, by the way?
Ooh, that's one of them. For me, H to Izzo, or the one where he's with what's that? UGK.
Big Pimpin'?
Yeah, Big Pimpin'. Big Pimpin' definitely.
Big Pimpin'.
By the way, did you know that actually Pimp C did not want to do that song?
Really? Why is that?
Yeah, he wasn't feeling Jay-Z. That's what everything I heard. Jay-Z is no matter what you say, he's a smart motherfucker.
Yeah.
If you look at his history, he knew how to place regions. So on one of his first albums, he does a song with Too Short, which Too Short was he didn't get much love on the East Coast, but both him and Biggie put him on their albums,
right,
because they knew his representation on the West Coast and how strong he was, especially in the Bay Area.
Right.
And then Jay-Z, what does he do? Then he goes to Jermaine Dupri. Probably writes Jermaine Dupri. I'm sure he wrote Jermaine Dupri's verse for Money and a Thing. So now you got Atlanta and the party scene.
Right.
Then he makes his way out to Texas and does. He's whether he shows it or not, in my opinion, he's very influenced by Texas, or keeps an eye on that market. He reached to UGK, the Underground Kings, which is exactly what they were, but they were like the presidents of that area. He does a song with them. Big Pimpin', goes crazy, etc. And then he runs over to and takes the LA sound real quick. Has Rick Rock do a beat for Change the Game remix. Has Daz and Corrupt on it.
Okay.
So you got all these regions, and he was smart enough to not only speak that in the lingos, and kind of adapted to that when there was a lot of East Coast, West Coast at those times.
Right.
So I got to give him credit for the marketing and the smarts of that. I think Dame Dash had a lot to do with that too,
right,
which kind of makes me kind of frustrated, because I think Dame deserves a lot more credit. I know scoreboard to people, especially young kids nowadays, is money and fame, but. I'm kind of, again, and I'll give my Jay-Z song, because at the end of the day, I'm a fan, even though I separate myself from the background of stuff, like what I thought. But I think Dame, it was a key, it took all the ingredients. It took the game. Dame had the swagger back in the day, though. If you ask me, Dame was the party guy. Dame, did all this. Jay-Z didn't even smoke weed. You know what I mean? Like he was kind of a little awkward until the money started coming in. That's my opinion. Now he could rap. And he used to do a lot of the fushnickens, rap. Like seriously, all that tongue twister stuff.
Right.
And then he switched styles, and and also Big L got killed.
Right.
Big L.
Well, that changed the game.
Yeah, I mean, because they were both. I don't want to say similar, because you want to appreciate them, but that would have been Big L was a problem, back then for people that really know hip hop.
Right.
Yeah,
so
everybody,
a lot of things happened. Just like Aaliyah is a problem for Beyonce until she passed.
Well,
interesting.
Jay's in my Jay's in my top 5. Everybody knows I got the mural of Biggie behind me, but I am doing out in the pool house. I'm doing a Mount Rushmore of hip hop artists.
I thought it was gonna be country.
and Jay's gonna be on that Mount Rushmore.
Oh, he made it?
Yeah, definitely.
Who you got? Jay Big. Who else?
Jay Big, Pac, and probably Nas. It's gonna be East Coast, East Coast heavy. That's just I grew up on the East Coast, so
no Arizona rappers made it.
Do we have ever?
Oh,
Shots fired.
Shots out.
I just kid.
But no. Back to the as far as for my song. My songs and Jay-Z. I mean, and I love Dead Presidents. I love Dead Presidents. I used to love The City Is Mine. In fact, I didn't know how that did not blow. You could tell because Jay-Z tried to hit him out the park, and so like the "You Belong to the City" with the Phil Collins sample and Blackstreet singing it should have hit it out the park, especially in the Diddy era. For some reason, it didn't hit like that. It was a great song, but it didn't hit. Same with him and Foxy at Sunshine that Babyface wrote or whatever it helped, didn't hit. Girls Like, which was like a Fly Girl remake, dun dun shh, dun dun Fly Girl, like that didn't hit with Little Kim and Diddy.
Right.
He tried so many times to get that exact perfect record, and for whatever reason they didn't accept him for that.
Right.
And then Money Anything, the one that really put him over the top in my opinion was Can I Get a?
Yeah.
Which was actually Ja Rule's song.
Right. Really?
It was Ja Rule's song. Ja Rule said, "What he's like? What are you doing on that?" He's like, "Let me get that."
Right.
And then that's how Ja Rule's featured in the back of it.
Gotcha.
So kind of interesting how that all works. Shout out to Ja Rule. I think I was with 50 during that whole time, but looking back on it, regardless.
And Kanye was in the background too. He was producing a lot of those hits.
Oh yeah, well, Kanye. You had, I'm not even going to do his producer's credit, but he had.
I'm gonna tell you my song.
Yeah.
Dust Your Shoulders Off with Timbaland beat. That shit was dope.
And speaking of that, okay, so and I love, you know what I love? You guys if you ever get a chance, see Timbaland's enthusiasm of explaining how that song came together, how he showed him a few beats, and then all of a sudden he says Jay just starts making that face, and then
there's actually a video of that.
Yeah, exactly. But so speaking of the Texas influence, thanks for mentioning that. And then there used to be a song when I used to go to the Texas clubs that was called "Shake Them Haters Off." And they'd all shake them haters off, whatever. I don't know if it was Lil Kiki or no, that was Southside, whatever. But there was a song called Shake Them Haters Off 98, 99. And so then all of a sudden, dust your shoulder off,
Yeah.
Just like I got 99 problems and a bitch ain't one. That was Ice-T's song,
Yep.
Wow. Me and My Girlfriend, that was Tupac's song.
Right.
I mean, I'm not trying to go there.
Jay,
people get influenced.
Jay bit. That's my only problem with him.
I'm not a writer, I'm a biter. Remember when Cameron did this?
Yeah, exactly. But because he took so many Biggie lines. I hear people singing his line and think it's his. And that's the only thing that frustrates me.
Hey, him and Drake do that very well.
Oh yeah, of course. And look where their stance is.
Exactly.
They're two of the greatest of all time.
Right.
But now, Jay-Z, regardless if I keep my feelings out of it, of the behind the scenes shit, if I just take it for face value, shit, amazing, truthfully. I mean,
top
his
five?
wordplay, yeah, easily top five. Probably top two. Probably top two in my book.
Ooh.
And I'll have to talk about it another day.
Yeah, we definitely gonna talk.
We
We definitely gonna talk.
ain't got enough time. We ain't got enough time.
left saying that. All right, man. Well, we come to the end, but we need our thoughts of the day. Grady, I'm gonna start it with you first today.
I'm just gonna put it out here.
Okay, talk to me.
I don't know what Mitch is talking about, but Tupac is my personal greatest rapper of all time.
First of all, I didn't say he wasn't.
I know you didn't, but you put in Jay-Z too. I got Biggie too. It's Tupac and Big, and maybe that's just the era I grew up in.
Well, then get your
but I remember
and go back to '96.
I remember the day Tupac died. I was at a grocery store. I got a page. Went to me and my boy Ian got a page. He called his mom. His mom told him that Tupac
crying?
had died. And I didn't believe it because he had been shot before and he had shot and he was in the hospital. And I was hearing about people going to visit him and then hearing that he died. Like, I actually cried over that. And it's crazy to say, like, you're crying over somebody that you never met and just listen to their music. But that's how much I was touched by it. And it's weird as, as a white guy talking about, urban music and hip hop and rap, to have it have that much of an influence on you growing up, but it really did.
That's the beauty of hip hop.
It crosses
it
does.
All lines.
And I think, and Tupac, like the music that he spoke, it spoke to everybody. It spoke to, not just, the urban people. It spoke to everybody. And I think that was the thing that he had that I don't think a lot of other rappers do these days, is not only with his music, but even his personality and then him getting into movies. He really touched everybody. I mean, even my mom loved Tupac, which is crazy. And so I'm gonna put that out there. He's number one.
I don't know about that, but
Grab your glasses if you like Tupac.
you know who number one in my book is definitely Biggie.
Ooh, Kelly.
The man was a lyrical genius. I mean, I need you.
If he didn't steal the song from the Memphis guy.
No, I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear all that.
Another story.
Another story in itself. Mitch, what you got, babe?
So, as far as my thought of the day, I'm going to go with, who's rich and who's poor. Now, again, the way we're raised, Americanized and, materialistic capitalism and all this stuff, sometimes we get lost in the sauce and go, okay, what car do you drive? What chick are you with? What house do you have? What clothes are you wearing? What watch are you rocking? What jewelry, et cetera? What clubs do you go to? I mean, all this stuff. But at the end of the day, if you've lived it, and I think we've all lived it to whatever degree, it doesn't always come with fulfillment. I mean, I think sometimes it comes with emptiness.
Right.
I know there's been times in my life, and we'll speak on it down the road, where I've had everything and anything I thought I wanted, and it wasn't what I wanted.
Yep,
I
agree.
couldn't even live in the moment.
Right.
I lived into what's next, tomorrow. Well, we're in the present. They always cliche say the present is a gift. And then you look at the world, and I know we're not trained to really. It's always what happens here first. But if we are all related, and we're all blood, and we're all we have this belief system, then my heart goes out to everybody that's suffering anywhere. It doesn't matter if they're here or there. I mean, I get we got to take care of our problems with our money here, because if it's the same problem, I get it. But we look at like families. And I'm gonna be cliche for a second. Like take Nigeria for example. And you have the stories of the brother and the sister walking 2 to 3 miles to get water, out of almost mud to try and get some water to bring back to their families, right? And they don't even have a house. They have a hut. They have, a tent or whatever it is. And they sit there and they work together as a family unit. And we sit there and we sometimes, we pity them, or, we sit there and go, unfortunately they can't eat. We feel sorry for them, and, rightfully so. I mean, not feel sorry, but our hearts should go out to them, But then part of me thinks, if these kids walk the 3 miles together for a purpose for their family, and they all sit there and share and make the most of whatever they have together with no animosity, with no jealousy, then are they really the poor people?
Right.
And are we who sit there and go, well, I want this, Mom, and I do this, and the minute you turn, I'm going to take out of your purse. Or I see my brother getting something, and I'm going to go ahead and figure out how to either cut that lane off for him or to steal what he has to get it because I need that. Who's rich and who's poor?
Right.
Yeah, I'll say this from the quote from The Matrix. Ignorance is bliss, baby. Ignorance is bliss.
Some days I wake up and I wish I was ignorant.
There you go. Mine is short and sweet. Summer is upon us right now.
That was awesome. Great job.
And we're out of here, folks.
So summer's upon us, and we're all gonna be traveling and stuff like that. But some people, don't do anything, and I just encourage people and I challenge people to get out their box. If you can't afford to take a trip, just take a drive with your family. Don't just stay in your little bubble. Go see things. If it's somewhere in your state, Arizona has a lot of things to offer. Or if you can afford a trip, United States have a lot of things. You can get in a car and take your family somewhere. And if you can travel overseas, hey, do that too. If so, let me know. I'll see you there. All right, we are done.
Episode 10.
Episode 10 in the books. See
10. I give it a 10.
Go.
2 on the 10 podcast.
You did too.